Hey, Coach, you've had the whole year to get your system implemented. What's the biggest change you got going into this season versus going to last season?
I think the biggest change is personnel, probably. We have a lot of transfers on our team this year, but we've done a great job this summer in getting to know each other, spending time with each other, especially on the court. We talked about 0 goals for the season this summer. We just wanted to focus on basketball and us being a collective group all summer up to this point. I think we did a pretty good job of that. I like where the team is at. Obviously, we have some things to improve on, but I think for the most part, we're where we need to be.
Coach, just how fun was that out there? Kind of see the community, get to see your team kind of for the first time.
Well, even anytime the community, the city can get a first look at the team, it's going to be special. I think our players were a little bit nervous. This was kind of some of their first experiences of something like this in this type of environment. So it'll always be special when we can bring the city into El Morón.
What stood out to you tonight?
Excuse me?
What stood out to you tonight?
I think just a first look, we practiced a lot, obviously, but I think being able to see our team play, I wish the crowd energy and things like that would have been a little bit better, but sometimes that happens when you have a lot of new faces on both sides. But I think, overall it was a good experience for our team, and all we can do is continue to get better.
Hey, Coach, you finished the season strong last season, but yet you got almost a different makeup. So I know you said you got 0 goals going in, but what do you want to do before you get into conference play early in the season, in the preseason?
Well, obviously we want to have a good non-conference. We got some heavy hitters coming into Memphis, so have a successful non-conference is number one. But I think at the end of the day, we have to find our identity. We have to find who we are as individuals, and then as a team, and then go into non-conference with confidence.
Coach, what did it take to sell Didi on your program and ultimately get her here? What was that relationship like through that process?
Didi is somebody who is obviously very special, as everybody saw tonight. But I think she wanted a different landscape. She wanted a different environment. Didi is a basketball junkie, and all she wants to do is play basketball. And Memphis, we were able to do that for her. Obviously, she has online classes and things like that, but she spends a lot of time in the gym. She wanted to have a very close relationship with her head coach, and she wanted to be able to run the team on the court. And I think we allow our players to do that.
What's the acclimation been like for her, like kind of being that alpha, if that's the case with this team? How's that kind of happening?
She brought a different mentality to the team. I would consider her probably, if you ask the players, she's probably one of the leaders, although I think we have multiple leaders. But she's definitely up the ante when it comes to competitiveness on the court, especially in practice. She stays in the gym, and all of a sudden, now other players are in the gym, and that's what it's all about.
What exactly are you looking for, in terms of like progression this year from year 1 to year 2? What would you like to see happen?
Well, the first thing already happened, and we flipped our team and our roster. That was number one. So now it's a matter of just getting better every single day.
Is your lineup set?
Not quite. We have some players out right now. We have just some minor injuries and things like that. I do think there are a couple of positions that are set, but is our lineup set? Not quite.
I know your lineup's not set, but tonight was blue and gray, kind of representative of where the team's at right now and who the starters might be.
No, actually it wasn't. As you can see, Hannah Riddick and Elijah Smith were both opposite. So I hope that doesn't happen when we start the season, because I like them playing together.
With South Carolina coming in here for the St. Jude exhibition, did you know a lot about Dawn Staley? Or did you have a relationship with her? What's that connection like?
Well, I don't have a relationship with her, but yes, I do know a lot about her. I tell the team all the time, we don't compare ourselves to somebody who's on our level. We compare ourselves to somebody who's above us, who has done more than us, so we know what we need to do, where we need to get to. And so I spent actually a lot of time this summer just researching her teams, researching her perfection year this past year and what that year looked like compared to her other years, which weren't perfection. And then I put those stats into our team for this year, comparing that to last year. And so them coming here, number one, being willing to come here, they struggle, from what I understand, in scheduling anyways. But being willing to come to Memphis to play us, that's huge in itself. But then also to layer that with St. Jude, that's even more special. We got a lot of time yesterday to spend time on that campus and with those kids. We met a lot of friends, but we met two special friends, Sully and Crossland, and I wear her bracelet now. She helped me make this bracelet yesterday. But they really touched our hearts yesterday, and if I'm guessing now, they touched our players' heart, and I would think that a lot of our players will play for those St. Jude patients and families.
Obviously, the field house is your home. I'm sure you're relatively proud to play here and what have you. But as you mentioned at the beginning, you are going to have a few opportunities this year to play the FedEx Forum. The women's team has rarely gotten a chance to do that throughout its history. What do you think that means for the program?
I think it's huge, and I'm not really sure why that wasn't happening, but, sometimes all you got to do is ask. And our administration supported us 100% when it came to that. And I think our players wanted to play in a bigger venue. We love El Morone. We love how close it is and the excitement and how loud it gets. But one of my number one goals is to try to sell out El Morone when it gets to a point that we have to make some decisions.
Got time for one or two more.
Coach, I guess with the St. Jude tip-off coming up, just for fans who haven't yet bought their tickets and talking about how much St. Jude touches your heart, what do you want to say to fans who kind of get to come out to that game and support St. Jude and you guys?
Yeah, the one thing about what St. Jude does is they take a burden off of patients and patients' families. When you talk about the financial burden of treatments and medicines and people who come in from out of town, staying in hotels, they take those burdens completely away from them. So if you don't like basketball, if you don't want to watch Memphis, South Carolina, North Carolina play, spend the money on the tickets just to give back to those families.
When you're playing a team like South Carolina, like you said, that went perfect last year, and you're trying to get that gauge where your team's at, do you change anything you're doing to kind of go at them, or do you still kind of play all style? How do you approach that, if that makes sense?
Yeah, we play our style. I think that's the case with any team that we play. Obviously, we'll do some scouting report defenses and stuff like that, but I think we still play our up-tempo style. We'll still press. I think it's hard to change who you are just because somebody else is coming in. We just have to have a much better basketball IQ.